Okay, so I'm going to go over the test review for topic 4. First direction say mark the angles inside of each pair of triangles to indicate that they are congruent. And so we're given that NLM is congruent to NZY. So if I mark the angles, I'm going to start with just marking these, the 1, 2, and 3. And I'm just going to go ahead and mark the size of one of the triangles. It doesn't matter which way I do this. As far as this goes, got the size marked congruent. Now I need to do the corresponding ones. So if I look at N is in the same location on the other triangle as N, so I need to make sure that they have the same number of marks. So this angle has to have 3. Angle M is the same thing as Z. So N and Z have to have the same number of arcs. And then Y and L have to have the same number of marks. So if I look at the next one I've got MN. So side MN has 3 marks. So side NZ has to have 3 marks as well. Side ML has 1 mark. Side ML are the second and third letters, so ZY has to have 1 tick mark. And that makes 2 tick marks for that one. So those are good to go. Question number 2 says write a statement that indicates to which triangle. And so I've got 2 triangles sitting here. I've got this triangle here and this triangle here. I'll go ahead and erase those things. So I'm just going to name the first one. I'm going to name it MLK. That's congruent to. Now I got to go look at M. M has 3, so I need the one with 3, which is W. So that's got to go triangle W. And L has 2, and L and K have 2, so it's a little bit different. And then K and L. There it is. Number 3 says find the value of x. And I got to remember what these things mean. These things mean that we have an isosceles triangle. So if we have an isosceles triangle, opposite angles are congruent to each other. So if that one's sitting up there is 76, that means this one has to be 76 as well. Now I got a couple other things in here as well. I kind of see we've got a second triangle, but I also have, oops, sorry about that. I have that this is a 90-degree angle. Since that's a 90-degree angle, that's probably going to help me, but I can find the measure of this piece right here because we've got a triangle. So that piece there, let's erase that and let's call this, I don't know, let's call it Y. So Y plus 76 plus 76, that's got to equal 180. So 76, grab a calculator here. 76 plus 76 is 152. So we got Y is equal to Y plus 152 is equal to 180. Subtract 152 from both sides, so 180 minus 152. So I get the measure of angle Y is actually 28. So that angle right there is 28 degrees. It's not really what I need. Okay, I need this angle down here. All right, so now I got to look and see what I got. So I have this is 90, and I know that's 28. So if I go 90 minus 28, that's got to be that one. 90 minus 28 is 62. So I know the measure of that angle is 62. Well, if I look, I've got another isosceles triangle there and there. So this one is X, so that makes this one has to be X as well. Remember, the inside angles of a triangle have to add up to 180. So 2x plus 62 equals 180. Subtract 62 from 180. That's 118. Divide by 2. You get x is equal to 59. That's your value of x. Number 4, a little bit the same way. I've got a 67 down here. I've got my x up there. Just say I got to use that 67. So I've got an isosceles, so that angle and that angle have to be the same. So that makes that one 67, which also makes that one 67 because they're congruent to each other. Vertical angles are congruent. And now notice I have tick marks there and there, so those two angles are congruent to each other. So that makes that one right there 67 as well. So now if I look at here, here, and here, that's the inside of a triangle. So those three added together have to equal 180. 67 plus 67 is 134. So you get x plus 134 equals 180. Subtract 134 from 180. You get x is equal to 46. Number 5, again, kind of the same thing here a little bit. So these two angles have to be congruent. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit easier for me to write. So this is 55. So these three angles here, here, and here, they have to add up to 180. So x, we'll just call it, now let's call it y. We'll call this y down here. Y plus 55 plus 55 has to equal 180. That's y plus 110 equals 180. So y is equal to 70. So this is 70. Vertical angles are congruent, so that's 70. And again, notice what's going on here. So that has to be 70. And then the interior angles of the triangle, here, here, and here, they have to add up to 180. So x plus 70 plus 70 has to be 180. So 70 plus 70 is 140. Subtract 140 from both sides. You get x is equal to 40. That's your solution. Number 6. Okay, so here's the only angle that I know. Okay, I've got that, I got that. So this one makes this one 52. This little thing means that these two are 90, so I'm going to call that y. So y plus 52 has to be 90. So y is equal to 38. I know that's 38. Opposite angles are congruent, so that's 38. So 38 plus 38 plus x, because remember, interior angles of a triangle have to add up to 180. That has to be 180. 38 plus 38 is 76. Subtract 76 from both sides. Get x is equal to 104. So there's number 6. Let's go down to number 7. All right, let's not let this mess us up too much. So we've got this is 60. I'm going to ignore this for just a little bit. This angle 2 is right there. So if that's 60, notice we've got all these things. So if that's 60, and that's 60. So I know angle 2 has to be 60, but it also has to be 6x plus 12. So that means that 6x plus 12 has to equal 60. Subtract 12 from both sides at 48, divide by 6, you get x is equal to 8. Number 8, angle 2 is way over there, so let's just figure out what we know. We know that's 65. I'm going to call this y. So y plus 65 plus 65 has to be 180. I don't know why I put a 64 there. Let's make that 65. So y plus 130 is 180. So y equals 50. So that angle is 50. That makes this angle 50 and this angle 50 because they're opposites, sides of an isosceles triangle. So 50 plus 50 is 100. they all have to be 180. So if I just logically think about that, 50 plus 50 is 100. I got to get to 180. So that must mean angle 2, that has to be 80 degrees. Okay, but it's also 11x plus 3. So 11x plus 3 has to equal 80. 11x equals 77. X is equal to 7. There's our solution. There's number 8. State if the two triangles are congruent. If so, state how you know. Okay. Look at number 9. I know I can mark the vertical angles as congruent. So I've got two angles and a side. So that either gives me angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle. So my two angles that are congruent are there and there. The side's not between them, so that makes this angle, angle, side. So yes, they're congruent. They're congruent by angle, angle, side. Number 10, they share this side, so I can put that there. So yes, easiest one, side, side, side. I like those. All right, same directions. We've got a 90-degree angle, number 11, so that makes that a 90-degree angle too. Vertical angles are congruent. We've got a 90-degree angle, so we look for hypotenuse legs. So there's the hypotenuse. These are legs, so it works. So yes, by hypotenuse leg. Number 12, they share a side, so I'm going to mark it. I've got two angles and a side, so that makes yes. Now the angle, side, angle. That one's done. Number 13, oh, I've got another right angle. I can mark these, but I don't have any legs. Don't have any legs, you got nothing. There's angle, angle, angle is not one. So these are not congruent. Number 14, mark our vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. That gives me side, angle, side. It's trying to make my handwriting a little bit neater. Interesting. All right, it says, what additional information do you need to know? Okay, so I want this one to be angle, angle, side. So I've got the side. I need to mark these vertical angles because those vertical angles are congruent. Now I want it to be angle, angle, side, so it can't be the included angle. So I'm going to mark angle D, and I'm going to mark angle V, and then we're good to go by angle, angle, side. Number 16 wants hypotenuse leg. So I'm going to mark this vertical angle. So there's that. We've got a leg. So we just need to mark the hypotenuses as congruent. Could either give it 1 or 3. I picked 3 for some reason. Who knows? Side, side, side. We like side, side, side. That just means I can put 1 there and 1 there and 3 there. And we're good to go. That's side, side, side. That's it. Okay, back to explaining why they're congruent. So again, this is the yes and no. And then which one? So I can go ahead and mark the side that they share. I've got an angle, and a side. The side is not included, so it's angle, angle, side. Number 19, our favorite one, mark the shared side. Why are they congruent? Side, side, side. Why it took that away, I don't know. Interesting. Number 20. I've got a right angle. I like right angles. That means this has to be a right angle. That is opposite the right angle, so that's the hypotenuse. It makes the other one the leg. So they're congruent by hypotenuse leg. Number 21. We like to mark vertical angles being congruent. That gives us side, angle, side. Now the fun ones. We got 4 here left to do. So start with number 22. So again, why are they congruent? Find the value of x. So we mark our vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent, so that gives us side, angle, side. So since it's side, angle, side, then corresponding angles have to be congruent, meaning they equal each other. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5x from both sides and add 2. That gives me x is equal to 4. So the angles then, so t would be -2 plus 6 times 4, which is -2 plus 24, which is 22. I'm going to check w just to check my work. 5 times 4 plus 2, that's 20 plus, that's 20 plus 2, that's 22 as well, so it checks out, so I know I'm right. And if you do them both and they get the same, you just know you're right. 23, I've got a right angle. I can put some marks there. So I look, that's my hypotenuse. I've got hypotenuse and a leg. So by hypotenuse leg, corresponding sides are congruent. I'm going to do it down here. So 5 minus 3x is equal to 6x plus 5. I'm going to go ahead and add 3x to both sides and subtract 5, which is going to cause, so that gives me 0 equals 9x. Divide by 9. X equals 0, and that's okay. 0 can be a solution. Again, we can double check it. 6 times 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 minus 3 times 0 is 5, so our answer is 5. It works. Number 24. Mark our vertical angles. If I would actually be writing. Mark my vertical angles. So I've got an angle, and a side. It's not included. So angle, angle, side. So my angles are equal to each other. Notice I've got x's over there, so I'm going to combine like terms. -4x minus 8x is -12x. That means I need to add 8x to both sides. So that's 12 is equal to -4x divided by -4. X is equal to -3, and that's okay. Oops, so x is equal to -3. So if I go 12 minus 8 times -3, that's 12 plus 24, which is 36. If I do it up here, it's -4 times -3, which is 12, minus 8 times -3, which is plus 24. Checks out. So our answer is 24. Nope, 36. Answer is 36. And the last one, mark our congruent side that they share. So that gives us angle, side, angle. -7 plus 4x is equal to x plus 8. I'm going to go ahead and subtract x and add 7. So 3x equals 15. X is equal to 5. So -7 plus 4 times 5 is 20. That gives me 13. 5 plus 8 is 13. So 5 and 13. They check out. There it is. That is the review. I will post this review and I will post the video as well. If you have any questions, I'll be available before school if you need any help.